Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Business of Property. I'm your host, Cheryl Leong. How are we doing today? Thank you for joining us. I have a fantastic guest today. I always have great guests here, so I'm very, very blessed. Sanders Mulaya from Masisa Property and Consulting. Sanders is originally from Zimbabwe and has such an amazing journey through from obviously overseas into Australia, but also coming in as a registered nurse. I mean, he's been working as a registered nurse from 2004, but his line of work didn't stop him from educating himself in the world of real estate and property, and was able to learn about the property investment strategies that have allowed him to acquire 15 positive cash flow properties around different states in Australia, and has now been able to replace his income through these positive cash flow properties, and is now helping other buyers, other real estate investors, and people who are wanting to get into development build their property portfolio. So I'm really excited to share a little bit of Sanders' story with you all. So I'd love to welcome to the show Sanders. Please come on down.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cheryl, to actually give me this opportunity to present and talk about my journey. I am so inspired.
No, thank you. Thank you for being here. I've gotten to know you over the last few months, and again, I've seen the results that you're getting for your clients in development. And I love to again, this whole community is about inspiring others on their journey, and I'd love for you to be able to share a bit about how your journey has come about. So let's start off with, tell us a little bit about your moving from Zimbabwe to Australia. What was the thing that motivated you?
Yeah, look, it's a long story that I'll try and summarize. So Zimbabwe was one of those beautiful countries. Zimbabwe was one of the breadbasket for Africa in terms of in terms of food, investments, tourism, mining, name it. Everyone wanted to live in Zimbabwe. Everyone wanted to visit Zimbabwe, but for some reason there was a sudden economic downturn.
Mm,
So I then realized that there was no future for myself and my family. So this is when I actually started looking for jobs abroad. I did apply in several countries, but somehow I was accepted faster in Australia than anywhere else. So I was working as a nurse in Zimbabwe. I had a qualification as a nurse, and that's how I ended up coming to Australia.
because we did have a shortage of medical staff. So, what made you choose to become a nurse?
So when I actually grew up, when I was growing up, when I was about 14, my dad was critically ill. He was admitted in a hospital.
Mm,
So I went to visit him, and I saw how diligent and how kind nurses were. And then I thought, oh, this is quite good. I could actually do this as well. So once I finished my year 12 examinations, then that's how I ended up being a nurse. So I was just passionate about it.
yeah, fantastic. And then, were you at the time also interested in property when you were in Zimbabwe, or was that sort of cultivated when you came to Australia?
So when I was 18, once I started working, I was actually interested in property, but I didn't have enough money. But however, I managed to actually build my first house using just using the small pay that I was actually getting. And to tell the story, I was actually transporting the building material on a bus, sending it some 300
Wow.
kilometers away, where I actually managed to build a very nice house. And I still have that house now, and it's actually rented.
Fantastic. And that was, I mean, I don't Oh, sorry, I think we had some network issues there.
Yeah, there was a bit of a lag.
Yeah, that home. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening. It's frozen. This is NBN. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right, you go. You go ahead. I'm not sure. Did you hear my last question?
No, I actually missed it.
All right. So, how old were you when you that home?
I was actually 18.
Goodness, that was young as well. And in Australian dollars, what would have been the equivalent of at the time?
Of you mean of
The
building
cost. Yeah.
probably about 10,000 Australian dollars.
Okay. And is that something that's common in Zimbabwe that someone that young would build or buy and build a property?
No, it's not. It's actually not very. It's not common. It's not something that someone as young as all that could actually do. So I think I had that. I had that gift, or I actually call it a dream. So that means I had the dream from the young age.
Amazing. And so how was it when you first came to Australia? What was the I guess the great thing is that you had this passion with property, back in Zimbabwe, and then coming to Australia, how did that dream sort of evolve?
So coming to Australia, I was purely focused on working as a nurse. So I came here first. I came in 2004. I left my entire family back home, and I had actually to sell everything that I had, except my family, obviously, so that I could raise airfares, so that I could be able, to also leave a bit of money for the family, and also be able to pay for the visa and to pay for nursing registration.
Mm,
So when I came here, as I said, I was purely focused on doing my nursing job. It was very hard coming into a new country,
mm,
knowing no one, and working with people that you don't even know. And also, this was my first time to travel to Australia anyway. So, and I had to work very hard to bring my family here. So my family joined me a year later, and my wife also was she was also registered as a nurse, so that did help a bit. And so 2 years into Australia, that was 2006, we managed to buy our first home. But we were working our guts out because we had
mm.
young kids. So when I was going out, my wife was actually going in, just to make sure that there was someone, at
At
home
home.
to be able to look after the family.
I mean, because as we all know, nurses work shifts, so the yeah, it's challenging enough at the best of time without having children and responsibilities. But I mean, for you to also then be able to save up enough money to purchase a property 2 years after you started into a brand new country, that's inspiring on its own. So well done for that. But did that sort of then follow on with more properties at that time from then on, or was there still a little bit of that adjusting into Australia?
So no, so then after that, in 2008, we bought our first investment. But then there was no knowledge. We just wanted to actually start somewhere, but we had no clue how the Australian market was like. So we just happened to drive into a suburb that we didn't know. We bought a house. It was 100K above market value, and the rent was so negatively geared that we could hardly keep it.
Hmm.
But because that's what we wanted, we continuously had to secure two jobs each. So that meant that our lives were pretty much working 24/7.
Oh my goodness. So as on top of your nursing job, you're working another job as well for the both of you.
Yeah, so we had to secure another nursing job. Yes.
Well, and how did you then get over that? Because finding then the time and the mental capacity to then educate yourself around property.
So the only time I realized I made a mistake is when I wanted to buy property number three. Somehow I was still pushing, but I was young, I was energetic, I could actually afford that. So I went to look for further jobs, and then when I wanted to buy property number three, the bank said you are overstretched. The
Mm,
property that you bought is cross collateralized, so meaning that we used our home as security.
mm,
And the property that we bought was so expensive and with very low rent that we could not buy the third property. So that's when now there was a bulb moment when I said, oh shit, this
mm,
is a very, very, very costly mistake. So somehow something had to be done. So we actually sold that property and we lost money out of it.
mhm,
But that's how we actually managed to get out of it. But to make matters worse, uh, that same year in 2008, there was GFC. So there was the
mm.
global financial crisis, and I actually lost my job. So that meant that I had to do something. So I had to leave my family in Sydney, and I had to secure a job in Tasmania to work as a nurse as well.
And how long did you have to be in Tasmania?
So I was in Tasmania the entire 2009, and
Mm,
I came back in 2010.
goodness. Did you buy any property in Tasmania? It's cheap there.
So
At the time, it
you
was
know,
really
I
cheap.
I was so scared. I didn't want to do anything. So, but being in Tasmania really helped me because my family wasn't there. So I had to work two jobs again. So when I was off, I made sure I was preoccupied by continuously working. So once I came back, I
Mm,
got a job back in Sydney. So this is when I got rid of all the debt that we had. So we had massive credit cards, we had car
mm,
loans. I cleared all that and then started a fresh life. So the fresh life that I started was purely not to invest, but to engage in massive in massive education.
mm, mm. It takes a big it's a big step to take when you've been knocked around, and we've all been there, right? When we're at the start of our journeys, we make the wrong, we make decisions that we don't know because we don't have the you don't know what you don't know. We don't have the education, but the main thing is that you were able to get out of that rut and have that awareness that you needed to make a change of some sort, and that was to educate yourself. Talk us a little bit around what sort of education that was.
So I actually started small. The first thing I wanted to do was renovations. So I did a course with Sherry Baba. So Sherry Baba teaches a lot of education around renovations. But then I realized that I had no time to do the renovations anyway because I was still working as a nurse. So then
Mm,
I thought, what else can I do? So then that's when I actually joined the I Love Real Estate community that teaches multiple strategies. So, renovations are in the development subdivisions, name it commercial. So now I was armed with massive education.
mm,
And I also did education with Bob Anderson, who actually teaches property developments. Jason and Amy teaches property developments. I went with Ian Wukate, who actually does, is the
small is the new big.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, the small is actually the new big. I also did commercial education. Um, so I don't think there's anything that was actually left. So then I had to choose one strategy because there's no way I could have, chosen go
Mm,
through.
mm,
So I chose property development out of all the other strategies.
yeah. And was there a particular, out of property development itself, was there a strategy that you decide to stick to, whether it was townhouses or subdivisions or a blend of both?
So my target was infill sites. So infill sites are, where there could be an existing house already with the services provided. So
Mm,
either I was now combining strategies. For instance, I could buy a house on a block of land, renovate the house, and then go on to build whatever is permissible. It could be one or two, more houses at the back, and then I'll be having multiple exit strategies. So it's either I sell the front house, obviously, and maybe keep one, sell two. So I this is when I then realized that it was actually worthwhile doing this type of development. So I was mixing duplex developments, townhouse developments, land subdivisions. Yeah, just small land subdivisions where maybe there's a house, knock down the house, create two lots, build two new houses. So that's how I actually went on to do better and better.
fantastic. And what was your first development?
So funny enough, my first development was an off the plan purchase. So I bought land in Western Sydney and then went on to build a single house on there. So that was bought it was 2000 and I think 2010, and then I went on to build a house. But because of the boom of 2015, 17, and then yeah, I actually made a lot of money out of it. So that was my first development.
Mm, fantastic. And so when did you sort of realize that property could be your exit strategy um, out of nursing?
I am that type of a person who always puts the peg in the sand. I always plan,
Mm,
and whatever I plan, I make sure I do it and actually follow through. So I knew I couldn't be a nurse forever. I mean, being a nurse is fantastic. It's a secure job. You are assured that you'll be employed, although I actually lost my job at one point. But for me, I wanted something that could actually secure my future with my family without thinking of a 9 to 5 job. So I looked at a number of strategies, shares, whatever you can think of. But somehow, because I was comfortable with the property, I could see it as a vehicle of actually living my nursing job.
mm. And what point did you, I mean, which year did you decide, yep, all right, I'm going to make an exit? And I guess what time frame did you give yourself?
So I had a 10-year strategy. So I gave myself 10 years. The reason for 10 years was that my intention was to buy a property every year for the following 10 years. And then my intention was that if I have 10 properties that are positively cash flow, that have replaced my income, then I can actually leave nursing.
And did it take 10 years?
No, it actually took 6 years instead.
Fantastic.
So
And
this is what happens when you actually plan, because when you plan, when you can see the future, sometimes things happen quicker than you
mm,
actually expect.
mm, mm, the whole law of attraction and manifesting the things that you want. So when did you um and I know you sort of, this year was sort of the time when you've really broken away from full-time nursing and you're doing full-time property development. Um, what were some of the things that you had to put in place to ensure that you were able to say, "Yep, I can walk away. This is the point that I can walk away."
So yeah, that's a very interesting question. So my intention was to leave nursing by 2000 by April 2020. I had actually put all the strategies in place. So I made sure that I saved enough money that was able to sustain me for a year, just in case things did not go well. So the for the past 5 years, that's what I have actually been planning slowly. And
Mm,
then from working two jobs, I cut down to working one job. From working one job, then I cut down to 5 days, then slowly to four, three, and then I was left with two. So I was just testing to see how everything was actually going. And I could see that developments were actually they were giving me more income than what I was getting in nursing. So then I put a plan to say, given this situation, this is when I want to stop. So to plan that, I had a 10 years long service leave, which was 3 months. Then
mhm.
I was granted another 3 months leave, which made 6. So, and then I said, I am out of here. So this is when I then went into my job and then started working full time, and so that I could experience it and see how it actually works. So, before the 6 months expired, actually in the second month, I had already made my mind that I was not going to go back to nursing anymore. Cheryl, I think there's
There
another cut
to
off
give you
there.
feedback on the comments. Yeah, I can see this. I can't actually see who's commenting, so excuse me, but I can. Someone else has said they're registered nurse too, and they do some developments. And another viewer has said that's exactly my strategy. And I love that it's been so well considered and well planned out, and that this has obviously been one of the strengths and why you're able to put the projects together and bring the properties that you have together, because you, even in your developments and looking at your property strategy, it's a well thought out and planned way into. I'd love to have a look at some of the projects. If you can walk us through some of the projects that you're working on as well, that would be fantastic. And if anyone has questions, comments, if you want to give Sanders some kudos for the amazing journey that he's on, I can't even imagine working two full-time jobs. And it's funny when you mentioned going from two full-time jobs to one full-time job, and then you said you reduced to 5 hours. Was it not 5 hours, 5 days? Was it not 5 days in your full-time job? Was it more than 5 days?
Remember I started with two jobs, and then
Yeah.
I dropped the other job, but
Yes.
I was still working full time. So full time was actually 5 days.
Mm.
So then 5 days I was cutting down. It's like I think I was losing a day every 4 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, until my target was really to get to zero.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm so excited to see some of the projects that you've put together. So it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I am going to share some of the projects that some of them have already been done, and some are still underway. But just to show you how you can actually do these things. Sometimes we think it's too hard.
Mm.
It's about self belief. It's about giving you that edge that I can actually do it. And the way I do it is through planning. Without a plan, you otherwise you cannot achieve this. So the information that we are sharing here obviously is the information that I've done myself. It cannot be relied on. You just have to do your own research. So just a brief snapshot about Musisa Property and Consulting. So this is the business that has been set up. It's a buyer's agent business / doing developments as well. So we do our own developments. We help other people source sites. And then there are other professionals that are sort of, they've got the knowledge, but they don't have the time to actually manage sites. So we may find the site for them, give it to them, or then they can say, okay, why don't you do everything from start to finish? So there's a lot of joint venture deals, and that's the only way you can actually share the workload. So for Musisa, we represent buyers in the real estate buying process. So these could be clients that are buying, simple investments, or they want to buy in their own name in a business, or they want to use self-managed super funds. So yeah, we do that. And so the process and the systems that we have developed are separate from the rest of everyone else. We do things differently. For myself, I don't believe in negative gearing, because that's a form of creating a business to lose money. So I always I always believe in positive cash flow properties. So as I said, we believe in positive cash flow properties and instant equity properties. So I gave you an example where there's a house that I can keep, renovate, put through, build 1 or 2 at the back. So that is instant equity. I don't need to wait for 5 or 10 years for that equity to be actually generated. So then we source and manage development sites. We do massive joint venture deals. And when I say massive, it's really massive. Self-managed super funds. I love self-managed super funds because this is just money sitting in these mother super funds, and people don't even realize that they can grow their money out of that. So these are some of the deals that we have done. So this deal here was done in Brisbane. So this is when people say, how come you can do stuff in another state? So I live in New South Wales, but somehow this development was done in Brisbane. So this was a block of land. I think from memory, it was 839 square meters. There was a brick house sitting at the center of the block. So we had to knock it down and then create 2 lots. And then we went on to build 2 5-bedroom double-story homes. So my strategy is always, whatever I put in, I pull out. And then I leave a brand new property that is positively geared with a very low debt. And then, so if I went in with 200,000, I may walk away with 300,000 with a brand new property. So we sold one and obviously kept one for positive cash flow. So, and I believe in capital growth. So all our developments are in capital growth areas. So this is another simple stuff. When you look at that, it looks so small, but this is a duplex on 450 square meters of land, and it's just a single level duplex. The strategy there, again, this is my personal deal that I did, and this is in the South Coast. So yeah, we sold one, again keep one. So the debt on that one is 420,000, and the rent is 550 per week. So you can see I can actually forget, I can keep it. I don't need to actually think about it. So then these are some of the joint venture deals. So this one is a client that is very busy, but they've got money. they want to invest. They have no time. So they just want to leverage a professional's time to be able to do developments. So Musisa Property and Consulting went on to source this site. We did the due diligence and we knew we could put 5 townhouses there. As you can see from the layout, there's an existing house. The block doesn't look quite good. It's not even rectangular, but who cares? So demolition of the existing house, and we went on to build 5 townhouses, and then it's a no man down deal. So it's a profit share 50-50. So I am putting my expertise and the other person is putting their money to do that deal. So this is another joint venture deal. This is a double-story duplex in a very good area. So it's a 3-2-1. Again, the land size is 450, nothing major. The purchase price, I think, was 450. And then we went on to build. So this duplex has just finished and it has all sold. It has sold off the plan. We were projecting when we did our numbers to sell each for 720. And as we speak, they have sold for 779. So there's a massive profit there. Again, it's a 460 share because it just depends with the profit and what we agree with the joint venture partner. So this is the finished product of the duplex, and then this is another joint venture deal where it's again in the South Coast. So the land size is not massive. I think it's about 780 square meters. We went on to build 3 townhouses. Purchase price for the land was 1 million. It's quite an upmarket suburb. And then construction for the 3 is 900, which brings that to 1.9. And then we are selling. Each of these are actually on the market for 1 million each. So you can see the type of deals, yeah. So
and what is the build cost, Sanders, for each?
So purchase is $1 million and construction is 900, meaning it's 300 each.
And to be able to sell for $1 million, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually massive. But again, when we're doing our numbers, we're doing our fees around selling 900 each, but somehow the market has actually lifted everything up.
Yes. Great.
So that's why I love developments. And if you see most of these deals, like the duplex deals, they are quick to do. I know people love 6-pack, 4-pack, or whatever, but there's more risk involved. It takes more time to do, and then the profits might be the same anyway. So that's why I stick more into the duplex builds, because the loans are residential, whereas the other side is all commercial. It actually becomes a bit complex.
Do you find just on that, Sanders, with the duplex builds, is there sort of because construction price has gone up by construction costs have gone up so much, and wherever you go, I guess the construction cost is pretty much the build cost is pretty much the same. Do you find that there's a certain price point which makes it viable for a duplex build, like a more higher end duplex as opposed to sort of mid-range because of the cost of construction, or it just really depends on how well you buy the land price for?
I think to answer that question, if you are buying in a low-end suburb, obviously the resale values won't be as high, so you need to buy the land cheaper. But remember, even if the building costs have actually gone up, the market has also been helping. Prices have also been going up. So whether you buy in the low in the low end suburbs or you buy the higher end, it's about the purchase price versus the sale values. So, like I gave you this example where we bought the land for 1 mil, you know, we were still going to make profit at 900, but not as much. But then the market keeps on ticking. Like if you make 20, if you make 21% profit on a 3 pack, that's what guys that are doing 4 townhouse developments are actually making. Like even on a duplex, if you walk away with an 18% return, to me that is massive.
And it's in terms of, are you getting that CDC approved, or do they still have to go through the DA process?
You still have to go through the DA process.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's less risk involved.
There is
overall.
actually less risk involved. But again, if you are building a duplex on 450 square meters, the DA might take probably 3 months maximum, depending which council you are dealing with. So this is the end product for the 3 pack. And then we thought this is a bigger project. So this DA, the DA is actually in council. It was lodged a month ago. This one is in Newcastle. So it's a 6 townhouse development. And the story about this one is actually very, very, very interesting. So we got the land. The land was on the market for 650. But because I'm a very good negotiator, I managed to get it down to 600. I don't know how, but that's how things happen. So, we saved 50K for that. And so we are going to build six townhouses there. And again, when we're doing our numbers for the resale values, we're using 600 to sell each. But the market now is in that area is selling for 750. So we've already made 150 per townhouse before we even start building.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is how it's gonna look like. It's quite a complex one, this one, because it's quite on a steep slope, but the land is actually flat at the top.
And do you think that was the main reason that put a lot of buyers off, that they had this steep slope?
No, it wasn't advertised as a development site. There was a very shit house there. People were looking at it more as a residential site than a development site.
You've got a few people that are looking to engage your services already. David said, "Can I engage you to help me negotiate my next purchase?" There you go.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Now I'm Sanders' agent, okay?
So this is a joint venture deal again with a landowner. So this is one of the clients that I knew. So we realized that the house sitting there, and they were collecting rent, which was good, but we thought we could do something about it. So we realized that we could build a duplex, and the DA has just been approved, and we are starting construction in 2 months. Again, we were using I think 650 as our sale values, but we are putting this off the market. Sorry, we are selling them off the plan. Our projected sale values when we spoke to the agent is 750 each.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And are you focused on any particular area, or it depends on where your joint venture partners want to purchase? How do you dictate where you're looking at these projects?
So this is funny. That's a nice question. So I do a lot of research, and I actually buy anyway, but the majority of my projects are in the South Coast, Central Coast, Newcastle, Lake Macquarie. I do a bit in Brisbane. And fun enough, I do developments as well as far as Tasmania.
See, I wasn't wrong about Tasmania, but you didn't buy it when you were there, did you?
No, when I was there, I didn't buy anything. But because I stayed there for a year, so I knew some of the
Mm,
areas here.
good. Great.
So this is the joint venture deal with the landowner. That's how the duplex is gonna look like. And then this one is my own development. So as I said, I do a lot of my own developments. This one, the DA has just been launched last week. So it's a 3 townhouse development. This one is massive. I think of all the projects that I've done, this one is the most beneficial one. The reason for that is I bought the land was advertised for 390. I got that right, 390,000. So I negotiated down to 370. So I saved myself 20K. And the initial concept was to build a duplex, but somehow council regulations changed. Now I can build a triplex.
And you've
So
got two entrances.
no, there's one entrance here.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. And
To the
then this is the
driveway.
front one.
Mhm.
And then this is the other two at the back. So purchase price of the land is 370. Construction for the 3 is 900. And guess how much one of it is actually gonna sell?
Tell us.
So each of these right now is selling for 700.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you can work the numbers there. So,
Goodness. That's
but
exactly
again,
the sort of
what I'm going to do is I'll sell the back ones because they are attached.
Mhm.
Then I'll keep the front one for positive cash flow.
And that will basically be pretty much almost paid off.
Yes. So always my strategy is whatever I keep, the debt is very low and the income, the rent is always massively high.
And just for that, the remaining property, even though the debt is low, in terms of getting a loan for that, does the bank require your serviceability, or is it an investment loan and it's fine with the fact that it's a low, you've got a low LVR and high income?
So the way it actually works is to purchase the land is an 80% purchase.
Mhm.
So obviously they'll look at my income out. It will be a direct borrowing. And
Mhm.
then when it comes to construction again, it will be an 80% land. And then once I sell the other two, then I go to refinance
Mm.
the remaining one. So meaning that I'll get the profit from the sales and then I pull out whatever equity I can afford from this one. So and then I take all my money, run away and go and do another project somewhere else.
Run away and start somewhere else. Excellent. We've got a question here. How can you assure good profits on the suburbs you have chosen?
Well, to answer that question, because I'll be knowing the suburbs, so I'll be knowing when I purchase land, if it's a duplex land, I'll be knowing what the resale values are. So I'll be doing my feasibility on the purchase price, whatever costs are associated with approvals, construction, and then sometimes some of these deals, when you go in, for me, I'll be looking at if it's a duplex, I'm happy with a 15% return.
Mm.
But if it's a triplex like this one, I'm happy with an 18% return. But however, for now, so this is why I actually purchased it initially. So I don't buy it if ever it's gonna make 10%, 11% from the initial concept, then I do not buy it.
Mm.
But what I'm saying is the market has really helped us I don't know, this COVID-19 is bad, but somehow it is also good somehow.
Yeah, well, property has gone up in the last year, so
Yes,
something's happening.
and it actually it still continues growing.
Mm.
Yeah.
These are great little projects.
So this is how it's gonna look like, and then this is another joint venture deal. You can see there's a lot of duplexes, lot of
Mm.
triplexes,
Mm.
and then a bit of massive deals, of course. Um, so this is a joint venture duplex deal again, and the aim there is to keep one townhouse each. So it's obviously we are putting money together 50-50 for the land purchase, 50-50 for the construction, and then at the end you pull out all your money and then you take a townhouse with you.
Mm. We've got a question here, Sanders. Do you have a fixed team that you work for your build, or different builders for different projects? How do you
So
select?
in most of the areas that I work in, when I go into an area, the first thing I do is to build a team. So a team of architects in most time. I don't usually use town planners. I use town planners for maybe triplex to the four pack, but for duplexes, all I need is an architect, and then I build a team around builders. Um, yeah, so I constantly use the same. I use the same professionals in that area. But if I go into a new area, then that means I have to restart again and build that team again.
So Sanders, what have been the biggest lessons for you in your property journey?
So the biggest lessons really in my property journey is number one is to try and beat procrastination. I think we happen to procrastinate a lot.
Mm.
And then number two, lack of self belief. Sometimes we always think this cannot be done, it's too hard, and then we lose a lot of time, we lose a lot of focus because of that.
Mm.
And then number three, align yourself with like-minded people. I am not saying that run away from your friends, but what I find fascinating is that once you align yourself with like-minded people that are doing the similar stuff, you actually get to succeed more because they may be doing better deals than you. And then you get to ask questions about this, about that. That's the only way you actually learn. You can read books, you can do whatever you want, you can do as many courses as you want, but I find it fascinating and practical to go onto the ground, start doing the mistakes, start doing the work.
Mm.
That's the quickest way you can actually learn.
Mm. And would you say, what are three tips you give to people that are probably looking to transition from full-time work to full-time development?
Yeah, I think it's around planning. So you should put a plan in place. You should ask yourself a question: how bad do you need it? So if you keep on asking that same question, how badly do I need this? How badly do I need this? You are likely to actually succeed. I don't think there's any more advice than the one that I've actually already given about self-belief
Mm.
and actually be able to make mistakes. If you are scared of making mistakes, forget it. Yeah.
And we had, so was that two? Was there a third?
Uh,
There's planning with it, planning, self-belief, and let's throw a bonus one at the end.
yeah, I think the third one for me is that I realize being an employee is actually good, but being an employee, you are just a number. just remember this: if anything happens today, you lose your job, where are you gonna hang on? So you really need to think about your future. How long can you sustain yourself if you have lost your job tomorrow? So if you start asking yourself these type of questions, that's when ideas really come into play.
Mm.
And the other thing is, try to utilize time. Time is as sometimes we don't realize how much crucial time we actually need. We spend so much time doing things that do not actually benefit us. So you need to look at your time and see how best you can actually spend your time. If it means cutting out some of your favorite TV shows, or for something that can be beneficial to you.
And social media, except for the business of property and listening
Yes,
in
yes.
to
Social
guests like
media
Sanders.
social media is one of the things that is crippling everyone. Like, I always jump on the train, I see people, they are always on their phones, people
Mm,
dancing on this, people nearly being hit by cars. Like, people always concentrate on social media. Like today, any day, sit in front of a TV for 5 minutes. All you hear is negativity. There's nothing
mm,
positive.
mm,
Everything is negative.
mm.
So if you are that person who does that every day, imagine how that is gonna impact on you.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
absolutely.
think it's better to really believe in yourself and do your own research and believe in your research, and then start executing it.
Mm. Um, Sanders, I think this has been absolutely fantastic. I would love to. I mean, I know there are a few people here that have been very inspired by your stories. So I really appreciate you sharing and taking the time. If people do want to reach out, talk to you, possibly work with you as well, how can they do so? And so let's talk a little bit about how they can, you know, give give Sanders a call. How can you help me in my property journey?
So this is what inspires me before I answer that question. You see there,
Sure.
I'm actually on my project. And if you can see there, there's a sheet house at the front. And then I went on to build three villas at the back. And my wife is a pillar of strength. She's always there with me. And this is one of our massive projects. So if you want to contact me, these are my contact details there. I've got two websites. The first one is musisaproper.com.au. And if you want to learn more about my story, about my journey and everything else, you can go to sandersmuleya.com.au. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, and there's an email address at the bottom. Um, I think that's it.
That's it. And I believe you are you writing a book as well?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That is
Yes.
fascinating. So, as I said, I try to inspire people. So this, I thought, how best can I give back to the community? So I am writing a book, and the book is about 10 properties in 10 years. So it is well documented on how I actually achieved all that success and how you can do that as well. So it will be more of an educational book. It will be more inspirational as well. So the book is almost there and it will be published in 2 months. So
Wow.
if you want
Exciting.
to lay a hands on that one, yeah, I am really looking forward to it.
You have been a busy man indeed, Sanders. I have absolutely loved following your journey. Obviously, it's only the tip of the iceberg. That I'm sure there've been a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles. You've come all the way from Zimbabwe, pretty much just with the shirt on your back, bringing your family over, and then building up this such a strong and healthy portfolio. for yourself and your family, but also helping others as well. So I think thank you very much. Someone's here saying grateful for you, Sanders. You are inspiring. Love your work, and thank you, Cheryl. Thank you all for joining us, for being here. Again, if you want to reach out to Sanders, please do, and just just to be able to say, hey, this has inspired me. And if it has been inspiring to you, and you want to learn how to be able to do this, it really is about educating yourself, I said, and believing in yourself. And the one thing that I've also learned is that from your story, it's about finding solutions. If that meant having to work two jobs, not that I'm encouraging working two jobs, but it goes to show there's always some way. If you want to you want to reach your goals, there's always some way to get there. So absolutely, thank you, and we'll see you all in next week's Business of Property. If you like to tune into our previous sessions, and or if you've got any suggestions for guests that we can have on for the next Business of Property, please send me a comment. Please drop us a comment below or send me a message. Keep safe, everyone. I know we're all mostly all indoors. Keep safe, keep sane, and take this opportunity to grow and develop yourself, and start planning for your own property journey as well. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.